Dear friends, I'm delighted to see you all in the little screen, and also especially delighted that we have uh, several monastics and students here in the room um, with us. Dhammadharini is just less than 1 month away from the time when we are entering the Vasa, the 3 months of the rains retreat. And so it's a kind of a time of gathering energy. And so some of the visitors that we have with us are having a kind of a trial visit to see whether it will be suitable for them to continue staying on with us as Vasa time residents. And also we're having a lot of exciting drama associated with finding out whether or not our hoped for monastic visitors will be able to arrive. And we continue with this attempt to develop the idea of loving kindness and the divine abidings as our practice over this a month or so that we have in between Vesak and the entering of the Vasa. It's a wonderful practice at this time because when we have to encounter new people, each person has got, sort of like different energy, different interests, different assumptions about how to do things. So then negotiating with having more differences, whereas in the middle of the winter early on, when it's the same old people who've always been here, and we're kind of like a family, or an old married couple that have been together forever, and we know what to expect from everybody, so it's very calm and relaxing. But then with new people, oh, so you do it that way. Oh, so that's what you think lunch should look like, or so then kindness is the thing that protects us and assures that we'll be giving the kind of welcome to each person who comes along to have them get the greatest amount of benefit. Even not only those who came in as residents, we've had more people coming in as drop-in visitors who come to offer something or who want to spend a little time at our new outdoor Dhanasala, a devotional space outside. And so then how can we find like the right energy to be truly available to set down what we were doing before and to go and greet the person who dropped in and to be there for them. That's loving kindness. I want to give you a bit of information. I thought of especially trying to draw out how the Brahmaviharas are very similar to the second point on the Noble Eightfold Path, which is called right thought or Sama Sankapo. These three, it's explained in terms of three thoughts. The thought of renunciation, which in Pali is nekkhamma vitakko. The thought of goodwill, or not hatred, not ill will, which is called abhyapada vitakko. And the thought of harmlessness, which is avihingsa vitakko. So these skillful thoughts help to calm the mind and actually leading to Nibbana. They propel us along the gradual training of the entire Eightfold Path is energized by these thoughts. So our having our skillful ethical behavior is energized by these thoughts. Having right livelihood is energized by these thoughts. Having making the right effort to purify the mind of and to cultivate wholesome states of mind is energized by these thoughts, and even developing mindfulness and samadhi, developing jhana, is definitely based on these thoughts. So here's a little poem. Think the three skillful thoughts and get rid of the unskillful, quelling such thoughts and considerations like rain on the dust. With a heart calmed of thought, you'll touch that state of peace right here. So whatever the dust is, our negative tendencies, that which is preventing us from having clear insight, that which is blocking our practice, that which is creating distraction, all of that is calmed and settled down with these right thoughts. Here's another suggestion about this. This is in the Dvaita Vitakka Sutta, a very famous sutta about the two kinds of thoughts. If a meditator keeps pursuing with thinking and pondering, whatever a monk or whatever a meditator thinks and ponders about, this becomes the inclination of the heart or the inclination of awareness. So if you keep on thinking in a way with renunciation, abandoning sensuality, then it's very easy to enter into jhana, into meditation. If you pursue thinking which is filled with goodwill, abandoning ill will, that becomes the inclination of the heart. If you keep on thinking about harmlessness, having that tender regard for the welfare of beings, then that becomes the inclination of the heart. There's another way, looking in a little more detail about these three kinds of thoughts. So nekkhamma, which is very often translated as renunciation. People can be confused about that because they think that nekkhamma is associated with giving up the household life and going forth into monastic life, giving up the family life and undertaking celibacy. But it doesn't necessarily need to have that. It does have that association, but it also has the idea of reducing, allaying, and calming down sense gratification. One idea that I haven't quite seen others put it together this way, but if you saw in the Visuddhimagga about each of the Brahma Viharas has got a near enemy and a far enemy, according to this is commentarial in the Visuddhimagga. It says that greed is the near enemy of loving kindness, because greed sees something that's desirable and then wants it. loving kindness sees loving kindness is pleasant. It sees what's lovable in any kind of being, even a being who's having a lot of problems, even a being who's very immature, childish, whatever. You still see what's lovable, and then you're able to arouse that thought of kindness for that person. Or if you have somebody who's like your teacher or your mentor or your parent, and you think of how much they've done for me, how much gratitude I have, and you see what's desirable there, and that helps to stir up the thought of kindness. But then the near enemy of that is greed. I've seen this near enemy of loving kindness explained in different ways, like it's like a codependent or needy or selfish attachment. Yeah, it's all of those things. But so then this renunciation is whatever you truly love, what you love the most, you let it go. Or whatever person that you really love the most, your own child, you let them go. You're not clinging to that person, even your own child, you're not clinging. And so that, I think, is a way that this thought of renunciation is very directly connected with the thought of metta, loving kindness, and it helps to distinguish the love of loving kindness from the attached love. And then a lot of times we see it's another kind of a confusion that people have about sensuality, which is very much related to romantic love, as well as materialistic love. This is something that I think gets a little bit lost, and sometimes I see in the modern teachings about kama or sensuality, is they associate it with sensuality and pleasure and drinking, drugs and excitements and entertainments and all of those things. But it's also true that in the ancient times, when they talked about that, this nekama, this renunciation or kama, it was a kind of materialistic love that has to do with, I have got a lot of cows, I have got a lot of crops, I have had a good harvest, my granary is completely filled with rice, so I don't have to worry, and then I've got all my food is all set aside, I've done all the canning and the putting up the food from the garden, and so my pantry is completely full, so I'm safe, and I have got all my children and my relatives and my grandchildren, and they're all, my grandchildren are still alive, and everybody's healthy and happy, and they all love and respect me, and so this is like a very traditional idea of true happiness, is the happiness of having enough material wealth to be safe, and having enough good relations with our family to be safe and supported in that way. And for a lot of people, that's kind of like their highest form of happiness. They don't care about money. They just want to be loved. And they want to be loved and respected by their family and their children and their relatives. So we got to renounce that. We can't cling to that. We got to practice renunciation in order to get to the other level of the kind of metta bhavana, which is going to be the basis for true freedom, the basis for being able to develop good samadhi, good meditation, to have the mind really have that full freedom. So this renunciation is free from greed, it's free from materialistic love, and it's free from clinging. Then the next right thought is the thought of goodwill, and this is about anger. There's a difference between anger and cruelty. It's maybe see if we can make that clear. So if one is discontented with the way it is, which is the natural tendency of the mind is, we've got this ability, any kind of a problem, the mind is able to imagine ways that problem could be solved and made to be different than what it is. So like today was hot, and the mind could imagine ways that one could be more comfortable on a hot day. And one could imagine ways that the house where we live could become more comfortable on a hot day. And then you immediately, the mind starts sort of fabricating different kinds of things that would make it more comfortable, because the mind is not willing to just be here. Just what it is, it's hot, it's what it is, just be satisfied, stay with the way it is. This is why in the meditation, I was trying to encourage this idea of like, let go of the past and future, just be content, whatever it is in the body, even if the body's like not completely comfortable, just relax around it, just relax. It is what it is, it's what you got, just relax. So that's this goodwill is very close to contentment and patience, and it's a necessity for the mind to be still. If you don't have goodwill towards the way things are, the mind will always be restless. Then the last one is this freedom from cruelty, and that's ahimsa was a very high value in all of the ancient religions of India, and in Hinduism, it's in Indian culture and all the Asian cultures, ahimsa is this non-harming, non-killing, is a really high practice. And it's the basis for morality, to not want to destroy or harm life. It's described so beautifully. Okay, in the Samanyapala Sutta, you see this in many places, that a practitioner will have abandoned the destruction of life, abstained from the destruction of life. One has laid down the rod and weapon and dwells conscientious, full of kindness, sympathetic for the welfare of all beings. So actually this conscientiousness, it's actually connected with wholesome shame, that this is what gives you like a natural restraint. So if you're with the person who's the dearest and most beloved to you, you just, even if you were irritated with them, you wouldn't like insult them, because something would just come up and would stop you. And so if this is like cultivated and made great and made a constant part of one's life, then you wouldn't insult or hurt anybody anywhere, because this restraint would rise up and stop you. And then the second part is this compassion and kindness, which is related to giving. This sympathy, this appreciation. So this non-cruelty is not oblivious to the reality of dukkha in the world. It sees that there is dukkha, and even sees the way out of dukkha. And so then you want what's best. You want what's best for all beings, and including for yourself. You want what's best. And so in a certain way, anybody who has not realized about dukkha, who is not aiming for nibbana, is actually like a masochist who's continuously inflicting self-harm on themselves because of behaving in a way that's infused with ordinary, looking after ordinary pleasures, or being satisfied with less, or full of confusion, and just going around and around, perpetuating in this world, which has the inevitable suffering of the round. But if we saw the way out, and then we ourselves for ourselves, we're inclining towards nibbana, inclining towards freedom. And anything that is putting out an obstacle to that, this restraint, comes up and says, oh, I wouldn't want to go there. That would be an obstacle to my liberation. That would be an obstacle to nibbana. And just the same way, you have that internally, and then it becomes, when the personality view goes away and you're not so concerned about your individual, self-centered happiness, it just becomes generalized, and what you wish for the whole world, that everyone. So this avihimsa is not just that we avoid killing, but we have this intention for the true happiness and true welfare. What is the true happiness? It's freedom. What is the true welfare? Is nibbana. So that's what we wish for the whole world, as to ourselves, for ourselves as to the whole world. So we can see that these three simple thoughts that's given as sama sankappo. If you're practicing loving kindness meditation, doing the metta bhavana, then the first jhana, it says that the factor of the first jhana is, one of the factors is vitaka vichara, accompanied by applied thought and sustained thought. And I have it on very good authority, because my teacher told me this, Mataji said that vitaka is sankappa. So we think of vitaka in meditation as being that the awareness has connected to an object of meditation, such as the breath, or a kasina, a color, or whatever the focus is, and the mind lands on the object of meditation and then stays with it, has the sustained awareness of that object, but that object can be a thought. The object can be the thought of loving kindness. So when you're doing jhana meditation based on loving kindness, then you would be connecting with the thought of loving kindness and sustaining the thought of loving kindness.